I always loved Thanksgiving. It's the one time of year when everyone gathers, sharing stories and laughing over a hearty meal. This year, though, it's going to be different. It's going to be special. I've been planning it for months and everything is finally in place. I live in a small town, the kind where everyone knows everyone. They see me as just a regular guy, someone who is always willing to lend a hand. They admire my culinary skills, especially my Thanksgiving dinners, which have become something of a local legend here. Little do they know the secret ingredient that makes my dishes so unforgettable. I've always had a different way of seeing things, ever since I was a kid. I found beauty in what others would call darkness. It's an art, really, understanding the fragility of life and the beauty in its end. That's what drew me to my hobby, if you will. I'm careful, though. I choose people who won't be missed immediately, drifters, loners, the forgotten souls of our world. Tonight was the night I selected my special guest for this year's feast. I drove around the outskirts of town where the lonely roads meet the darkening woods. That's where I found him, a hitchhiker, looking for a ride to nowhere particular. Perfect. He got into my car, thanking me for the lift. Little did he know that he's not just a passenger. He was the centerpiece of my Thanksgiving dinner. We talked about trivial things, the weather, the town. I'm good at this part, playing the role of a good Samaritan. It puts them at ease. As we drove, I took a detour, a route I know like the back of my hand, leading deep into the woods. He didn't notice, too caught up in his own stories, and when we were far enough away from prying eyes, I made my move. I sliced his throat. It was clean, quick and easy. I always took pride in not causing any unnecessary suffering. With my guest now silent, I started the preparations. I've set up a special room in my house for this part of the process. It's well equipped and soundproof, a necessity in my line of work. Butchering takes skill and knowledge, and I've had plenty of practice. I handle the meat with care, ensuring every cut is precise. It's important to respect the art. Preparing the meat is a time-consuming process, but I found it soothing. There's something about the transformation from human form to culinary delight that fascinates me. I marinate the meat using herbs and spices that will complement its unique flavor. I've learned over the years that works best, perfecting my recipes to a T. The rest of the meal is more traditional. Mashed potatoes, green beans, cranberry sauce. I prepare them with the same attention to detail, but they're just the supporting cast. The real star is the meat. As I cook, I imagine my neighbors' faces beaming with joy as they savor each bite, oblivious to the truth. It's exhilarating, knowing I'm sharing a part of myself in such an intimate way. The meal is more than just food. It's a communion, a sharing of a secret that they don't even know they're a part of. With the dinner finally prepared, I set the table meticulously. Every fork and knife is placed with precision, every glass sparkling under the light. The centerpiece is, of course, the meat, cooked to perfection and exuding an aroma that fills the room. I can hardly wait for tomorrow, when I'll open my doors and welcome my neighbors. They'll come with their smiles and their appetites, unaware of the true nature of this feast they're about to partake in. They see me as a friend, a neighbor, a fellow community member. They trust me, and that trust is what makes this all so deliciously satisfying. As I lay in bed, I think about the day ahead. There's a thrill in the air, a sense of anticipation. This Thanksgiving will be remembered for years to come. A feast that will live on in their memories, even if they never understand why. It's a small town, an unassuming town. Under the guise of normalcy, I've created a tradition like no others. And as I drift off to sleep, a smile creeps across my face. The feast begins tomorrow, and it's going to be a masterpiece. The morning sun filters through my curtains, signaling the start of the day I've been waiting for. Today, my culinary masterpiece will be unveiled. As I rise from bed, a sense of excitement courses through me, mixed with a hint of nerves. Today, everything has to go perfectly. I start by dressing the table. The fine china, the polished silverware, the crystal glasses, everything is set to impress. I place the centerpiece, my special dish, covered for now, in the middle of the table. Its mere presence makes the room feel different, more alive. As the morning progresses, the aroma from the kitchen fills the house. The neighbors begin to arrive, each greeted with a warm smile and a personal touch. I pride myself on being a gracious host, and today is no exception. They come bearing side dishes, desserts, bottles of wine, the usual Thanksgiving fare. But I know, only I, that the real treat is what I have prepared. The atmosphere is light, filled with laughter and chatter. My neighbors, a mix of old friends and acquaintances, compliment the decorations, the ambience. They're all excited for the meal, their expectations high. Little do they know how truly unique this dinner will be. As we gather around the table, I take a moment to look at each face. The Millers from next door, the young couple from down the street, Mrs. Henderson, who's lived here longer than anyone. They trust me, rely on me for this annual tradition. It's a trust I've cultivated with care. I start serving the dishes, saving the main course for last. The sides are appreciated, but I can tell that they are all waiting for the pièce de résistance. Finally, with a flourish, I uncover the centerpiece. There are audible gasps and words of admiration. It looks perfect, almost too good to be true. As they start eating, I watch their expressions change from curiosity to delight. They savor each bite, praising the flavor, the tenderness. It's music to my ears. "What's your secret?" they asked. "A special recipe," I say with a smile, "passed down through generations. If only they knew." But then, something unexpected happens. Mrs. Henderson, who's sitting across from me, pauses mid-bite. She looks confused, troubled. I feel a pang of anxiety. Did I make a mistake? Is she on to me? "No," she finally says. "It's just this taste. It reminds me of something, but I can't quite place it." Relief washes over me. She's just reminiscing, nothing more. The dinner progresses. The initial tension I felt dissipates. We eat, drink, share stories. The mood is festive, the conversation's lively, but I noticed Mrs. Henderson. She remains slightly distant, her mind elsewhere. I keep an eye on her, ready to intervene if necessary. As the evening winds down, my guests, fully satisfied, start to leave. They thank me, already looking forward to next year. Mrs. Henderson is among the last to leave. As she walks out the door, she turns to me, a thoughtful look in her eyes. "Thank you," she says. "It was memorable." I can't quite read her tone, but I decide not to dwell on it. After everyone has gone, I sit at the now empty table, a sense of accomplishment filling me. I did it. I pulled off the perfect Thanksgiving dinner. But more than that, I shared a piece of my world with them in the most intimate way possible. I clean up, make sure everything is back in its place. As I wash the dishes, my mind wanders to the event of the evening. Despite the success, Mrs. Henderson's reaction nags at me. Did I underestimate her? Or am I just being paranoid? I decide it's the latter. After all, no one suspects a thing. They see me as their friendly neighbor, their perfect host. Why would they question anything? I covered my tracks too well. As I go to bed, I feel a sense of peace. Today was a good day. I delivered a meal that will be talked about for years to come, even if they never know the full story. In this sleepy little town, I've created a tradition that's all mine, a secret shared in plain sight. I close my eyes, the evening of the day replaying in my mind. The laughter, the conversations, the looks of enjoyment as they ate. It's a satisfying feeling, knowing I've given them a Thanksgiving they'll never forget. But as I drift off, Mrs. Henderson's words echo in my mind. It was memorable. Yes, it certainly was. And next year, it'll be even better.